NCIS has captivated audiences since its debut in 2003, and the stories of its cast members are just as compelling as the show itself. Over the years, accidents and unexpected life events have shaped their lives in surprising and often challenging ways. As we step into 2025, curiosity grows. Where are the stars who brought NCIS to life now? From spiraling struggles to inspiring recoveries, join us as we delve into the personal journeys of these beloved actors, uncovering the triumphs and trials that have defined their paths off-screen. Prepare for twists that rival the drama of the show itself. Sean Murray, who portrayed the soft-spoken and intellectually sharp Timothy McGee in NCIS, was 26 years old when he first stepped into the role of the cyber-savvy agent. His gentle demeanor and quiet resilience made him one of the most relatable characters on the show. Though his career found stability through NCIS, his life beyond the screen was marred by emotional distance and solitude. He married Carrie James in 2005, and they had 2 children, Caitlin and River, but their marriage was rocky, plagued by long periods of separation and quiet resentment. They eventually divorced quietly in 2020. Murray struggled with weight and health issues that affected his self-image, leading to bouts of depression. A strained relationship with his father, a retired naval officer, haunted him through much of his adulthood. Despite his fame, he often felt overshadowed by his stepfather Donald Bellisario's success in the industry. He also battled addiction early in his career, a private war he fought in silence. At 47, Murray lives alone in California, often retreating from public life. He spends his days writing scripts no one buys, seeking meaning beyond the character that defined him. His net worth is estimated at $8 million, but he rarely indulges in luxury, preferring isolation over recognition. David McCallum, who portrayed the eccentric yet endearing Dr. Donald Ducky Mallard in NCIS, was 70 when he embraced the role of the team's seasoned medical examiner with a penchant for long-winded stories and a deeply empathetic soul. Though beloved on-screen, McCallum's life was riddled with heartbreak and unresolved grief. He was married twice, first to actress Jill Ireland, who left him for Charles Bronson, a betrayal that scarred him deeply. He later married Catherine Carpenter, with whom he had a quiet but emotionally distant relationship. He had 5 children, one of whom, Jason, died from a drug overdose, an event that haunted him until his death. McCallum, who also endured the early death of his brother and the collapse of several cherished friendships, often withdrew into music and solitude. Despite the joy he brought to audiences, he was a man burdened by loss and regret. His final years were spent in seclusion in New York, where he passed away on September 25, 2023, at the age of 90, due to natural causes. Though remembered with fondness, he died feeling unfulfilled, clinging to letters and mementos from a fractured past. His estate was estimated at $10 million, much of which he left to charities supporting veterans and the arts. Lauren Holly, who played the sharp-witted and emotionally guarded director Jenny Shepard in NCIS, was 42 when she first took on the powerful role of a woman leading in a male-dominated agency. Despite her fierce presence on screen, her real life mirrored the same complexity and sorrow. She was married 3 times, most famously to Jim Carrey, a volatile and public relationship that ended in tears. Her second and third marriages collapsed under the weight of emotional exhaustion and unresolved trauma. She had 3 adopted sons, Henry, George, and Alexander, whom she raised largely alone. Behind her poised image lay years of struggling with depression, especially following a miscarriage in her late 30s and the sudden death of her younger brother. Her career faltered post-NCIS, with roles that never quite reignited her former glory. Industry rejection pushed her into self-imposed exile for a time, where she lived in Canada and taught acting workshops. Though she remains active in occasional television projects, she battles loneliness and a lingering sense of irrelevance. Now 61, she lives quietly, far removed from Hollywood's clamor. Her estimated net worth stands at $14 million, though she confesses that emotional wealth remains elusive in her twilight years. Brian Dietzen, who brought to life the ever-optimistic and endearingly awkward Dr. Jimmy Palmer in NCIS, was only 27 when he joined the cast. His character's warmth, vulnerability, and persistent cheer offered a light in the show's darkest moments. In contrast, Dietzen's personal journey has been far more shadowed. Though he married Kelly Dietzen and they share 2 children, Chloe and Kyle, their marriage suffered under the weight of his medical issues, including a near-fatal stroke in 2020 that left both physical and emotional scars. The recovery process strained his family life and ignited a quiet depression that he kept hidden from public view. His parents' divorce and a distant relationship with his siblings added to his internal turmoil. He also struggled with anxiety and perfectionism, fearing he was always one role away from being forgotten. While he still appears in NCIS, the fire of passion has dimmed, replaced by mechanical repetition and the burden of sustaining a role that's become a mask. Now 47, he spends much of his time involved in health advocacy but avoids the spotlight. His estimated net worth is $6 million, and though financially secure, he admits he often feels emotionally bankrupt. Rocky Carroll, aged 45 when he joined NCIS, portrayed director Leon Vance, a stern yet dignified leader burdened by the weight of responsibility and personal loss. Now 61, Carroll has remained a stable presence on the show, but stability evaded his personal life. Married to Gabrielle Bullock since 1996, their marriage was riddled with separations and reconciliation attempts. They have 1 daughter, Alyssa, though he rarely speaks of her in interviews. Following NCIS, Rocky's directorial ambitions were met with repeated rejection, leading him into long periods of self-doubt. He suffered from insomnia, depression, and survivor's guilt after losing close friends in the entertainment industry. His strained relationship with his siblings, who accused him of abandoning his roots, only worsened with time. In recent years, Carroll has become reclusive, rarely attending public events. Despite this, he has managed to maintain financial stability, with his estate currently valued at $3.5 million. He now lives in quiet solitude in a gated home in Los Angeles, haunted more by what might have been than what was. Polly Parrott, 34 at the start of NCIS, brought to life the beloved Abby Ciuto, a goth genius with a tender soul and boundless energy. Off-screen, however, Parrott's reality unraveled in heartbreaking silence. Now 56, she retired from acting in 2020 following a turbulent exit from the show amid allegations of a toxic work environment. Never married, she endured an abusive engagement to musician Coyote Shivers, whom she divorced after years of legal turmoil. She never had children, often expressing grief over the loneliness that engulfed her in middle age. Estranged from much of her family and suffering from chronic mental health struggles, including PTSD, anxiety, and bouts of agoraphobia, Polly withdrew from the spotlight entirely. Her activism, once fiery and constant, dwindled to rare social media posts. A minor stroke in 2021 left her physically weak and emotionally fractured. Once vibrant, she now lives quietly with her rescue dogs, her estate estimated at $5 million. The walls of her home echo with the ghosts of characters she once embodied, and memories of joy she never fully claimed. Michael Weatherly, aged 35 when he took on the role of Anthony, Tony DiNozzo, charmed audiences with wit, heart, and swagger. Yet the actor's off-screen journey has been far less charmed. Now 56, Weatherly remains professionally active but plagued by a career marred by scandal. Accusations of sexual harassment from co-star Eliza Dushku cost him not just reputation but several high-profile roles, derailing his upward trajectory. He married internist Bojana Yankovic in 2009, and they have 2 children, Liam and Olivia, but their marriage has long been strained by public controversies and private tensions. Michael's first marriage to Amelia Hindley ended in 1997 after the birth of their son August, whose custody battles haunted him for years. Despite his public smile, he battles alcoholism and depression, and has endured multiple rehab stints. Estranged from close friends and family, he often spends holidays alone. His estate is valued at $6 million, down from its peak. He continues to work, but each performance seems like a quiet plea to reclaim lost dignity, to silence ghosts he can't quite name. Cote de Pablo, who was just 26 when she stepped into the role of Ziva David, the fierce and emotionally complex Mossad officer, remains an icon of strength and vulnerability. Yet her personal life reflects a quiet, painful solitude. Now 45, Cote never married, though she was in a long-term relationship with actor Diego Serrano, which ended in silence and sorrow. She has no children, and has admitted in rare interviews to feeling the absence of family more profoundly with each passing year. After leaving NCIS, her career stalled, offers dried up, roles fell through, and she slipped into obscurity, briefly reappearing only in cameo roles. She lost her father in 2018, triggering a deep depression, followed by a car accident that left her with lingering physical pain. In 2021, she moved out of Los Angeles, retreating into privacy. Once surrounded by adoring fans, she now spends her days painting and avoiding the public eye. Financially stable, her estate is estimated at $4 million, but emotionally, she carries a hollowed-out silence where dreams once lived. Wilmer Valderrama, age 36 when he joined NCIS, portrayed Special Agent Nicholas Torres, a streetwise, hot-headed undercover operative who struggled to adapt to the rules of the team but brought intensity and a haunted past to every scene. Behind the scenes, Valderrama's life mirrored his character's turbulence. After his much-publicized relationships with Demi Lovato and Lindsay Lohan, he married model Amanda Pacheco in 2020. They had one daughter, Nakano Oceana, but the marriage quickly soured under the weight of infidelity rumors and extended separations due to filming. The couple divorced quietly in 2024. Valderrama's post-NCIS career never regained its momentum, roles dried up, and his attempt at directing fell flat. He battled depression, a relapse into substance abuse, and financial stress after several failed investments, including a now-defunct tequila brand. Despite these trials, he remains close to his daughter and lives a quiet, semi-reclusive life in a modest home in Santa Monica. As of 2025, he is 45 years old and his estate is estimated at $1.8 million, down significantly from his peak in the early 2010s. Emily Wickersham, 29 when she took on the role of Eleanor, Ellie Bishop, brought nuance and restraint to the brainy NSA analyst turned NCIS agent whose quiet sadness mirrored her personal demons. Off-screen, Wickersham married musician Blake Anderson in 2015, and they had 2 sons, Mason and Levi. But fame proved corrosive. The constant scrutiny, a miscarriage in 2018, and Blake's struggles with alcohol led to a messy divorce in 2022. After leaving NCIS in 2021, Emily tried to relaunch herself in indie film but was met with lukewarm reception. She turned briefly to writing before withdrawing from the spotlight. In 2023, she suffered a breakdown and spent time in a wellness facility. Her family life remained fractured, with shared custody often strained. She now resides quietly in upstate New York, rarely appearing in public. At 40 years old, Wickersham's estate is estimated at $2.3 million, mostly from her years on NCIS and a few successful real estate investments. Deanna Reasonover, 26 when she first stepped into the lab as Casey Hines, brought wide-eyed optimism and fierce intelligence to her role as the forensic scientist trying to prove herself in a high-stakes world. Off-screen, Deanna married longtime partner Patricia Hammond, a theater director, in 2019, but the couple quietly separated in 2023 after years of emotional distance and conflicting career paths. They had adopted a daughter, Hazel, in 2020, but custody disputes and Deanna's anxiety issues led to a strained co-parenting arrangement. After initially thriving on NCIS, Deanna's opportunities dwindled. Her comedic roots didn't translate well beyond the procedural format. She struggled with body image, battled panic attacks, and was hospitalized in 2022 for exhaustion. She turned to activism, though this too brought public backlash and personal burnout. Now 33, she lives alone in a rented apartment in Silver Lake, Los Angeles, her once vibrant persona dulled. Her estate is estimated at $950,000, her financial future uncertain. Maria Bello, who was 50 when she joined NCIS as Jacqueline, Jack, Sloan, brought gravitas and warmth to the tough yet empathetic psychologist with a tragic backstory. Bello's own story was no less heartbreaking. Her long-term relationship with producer Claire Munn ended abruptly in 2021 amidst rumors of betrayal and public meltdowns. She has one son, Jackson, from a previous relationship, but they have grown increasingly distant, particularly after a failed business venture they co-invested in drained much of her savings. Post-NCIS, Bello attempted to write and produce, but none of her projects took flight. Her health began to falter. She was diagnosed with lupus in 2022 and withdrew from public life. Years of strained family relations, an unresolved legal battle over a home purchase, and the death of her mother in 2023 pushed her deeper into isolation. Now 58, she resides quietly in Ojai, California, where she occasionally teaches acting workshops. Her estate is estimated at $3.1 million, a shadow of what it once was. Katrina Law, age 35 when she joined NCIS as Special Agent Jessica Knight, portrayed a tough, tactical, and emotionally guarded operative who carried the grief of losing her entire REACT team in a bombing. Her performance resonated with fans for its mix of vulnerability and grit. Off-screen, however, Katrina's life bore the weight of hidden struggles. Married to actor Keith Andreen, the couple shared a daughter named Kinley, yet their union suffered under the pressure of conflicting careers and long separations. They quietly separated in 2023. Professionally, her post-NCIS projects faltered, a planned spin-off was shelved, and subsequent roles were critically panned. She endured 5 major personal tragedies: a miscarriage in 2021, her brother's death from a car crash in 2022, the divorce, a stalker incident in 2024, and a near-fatal health scare involving an autoimmune disorder. Though only 43, Katrina withdrew from Hollywood, now living reclusively in Oregon. Her estate is estimated at $800,000, diminished by legal costs and canceled projects. Despite the glow of her screen presence, her real-life script reads as a woman hardened by sorrow, longing for peace away from the spotlight. Gary Cole, 60 when he joined NCIS as Alden Parker, embodied the analytical, introverted, yet deeply loyal team leader with a dry wit and a sharp mind. His portrayal, hailed for adding depth to the ensemble, masked a quietly unraveling personal life. Twice divorced, first from actress Teddy Siddall, with whom he had a daughter, Mary, who was diagnosed with autism. Gary remarried in 2020, but the marriage collapsed under the stress of caregiving responsibilities and his relentless filming schedule. By 2023, he was alone. His post-NCIS career was marred by health issues, including a mild stroke in 2024, and the abrupt cancellation of a highly anticipated Broadway revival. Among 5 major personal tragedies, his daughter's health deteriorating, the death of his mother, the breakdown of his second marriage, financial loss from a failed film investment, and estrangement from his siblings. Now 68, he lives in quiet retirement in Illinois, rarely making public appearances. His estate is estimated at $3 million, modest for a career spanning 4 decades. The once reliable character actor now spends his days tending a garden few know about, speaking only to a nurse and his daughter. Mark Harmon, who was 49 when he first took on the role of Leroy Jethro Gibbs in NCIS, brought stoicism and quiet authority to the role of the haunted Marine-turned-investigator. His portrayal became iconic, rooted in silence, loss, and leadership. But the man behind Gibbs carried burdens just as heavy. Harmon's marriage to actress Pam Dauber survived decades but was plagued by long silences, rumored infidelity, and emotional distance. Their sons, Sean and Ty, pursued acting but struggled in their father's looming shadow. After his 2021 departure from NCIS, Harmon attempted a return to film, but the projects failed critically and commercially. 5 tragedies punctuate his story: the sudden death of his best friend in 2008, a house fire in 2013, chronic back pain that worsened after a stunt injury, the death of his father in 1990 that still haunted him, and an estranged relationship with one son. Now 73, he lives in partial seclusion in Montana. His estate, bolstered by decades of television success, is estimated at $40 million, though much of his wealth is tied to real estate. Revered but reclusive, Harmon is a ghost of Hollywood's golden procedural age, a man still walking alone like his most famous character. Who is your favorite character from NCIS? How does it feel knowing that some of the actors are no longer with us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on future uploads. Thank you for your support.